Hello, everyone, and welcome back to A.B.P. Thank you once again for coming to visit my channel. If you haven't yet, don't forget to click subscribe so that you get notifications when I produce new content. With that being said, today I have a couple of stories I want to tell you guys. I've had some requests for stories, and thank goodness people are liking them, so I'm here to tell a couple more. Now, when I was young, I grew up in a home with a lot of children in my home, lots of brothers and sisters. So we never had a whole lot of money. So my dad used to cut all of our hair, all of his son's hair, not daughter. Okay, I don't think my sisters would have appreciated that whatsoever. Especially when my dad sometimes was known for oops. If you heard and then oops, you were just like, Dad, take it all off, okay? He was famous for doing these things, but it didn't happen all the time. So most of the time, we got good haircuts, okay? Thanks, Dad. Okay, so my dad used to cut our hair all the time, and of course, with it being a whole bunch of kids, imagine how much pressure that was on his dad. I mean, I had to cut my own son's hair, and it was so hard. I was stressed out like crazy. I didn't want to, like, destroy it or anything like that. So, and then after I was through, I was relieved, man, And if I had 8 more to go, I was like, I don't know what I would do. Anyways, with that being said, my dad used to cut all of our hair. And so we used to always have our hair cut in the bathroom. Well, at this particular point in time, it was the summertime, and my dad didn't feel like cleaning up hair all over the place. So he decided, let's take one of the stools and go outside, and I'll cut your hair outside. That way I won't have to clean up all the hair. I won't have to do all that. So we bring around the stool around behind the home, and we plug in the hair clippers, and so we have to be kind of close to the house because, of course, we need to plug it in, So we're still kind of close to the back of the house, but I'm on the stool, and I'm there, like, I don't even have on a shirt. I think I'm just wearing some shorts or something, and my dad is getting ready. And so as soon as he starts, he's like, bzzz, and like it's going, and almost immediately, I mean, like right as he starts, it's like, bzzz, and then I feel on my chair, like the chair that I'm sitting in, and it's not even a chair, it's a stool, so I have my feet up on the stool, like this, and but I hear something tap it or hit it hard, like a whip, and I look down behind me. Let me tell you what, that stool went upside down in 1 second flat. I jumped off that thing so quick it wasn't even funny. It was a snake. It was a black snake, and it was going up my chair with me in it. I thought snakes were scared of people. Okay. That being said, jumped out the chair. My dad's like, what are you doing, boy? I'm like, there's a snake on the ground. So he's like, oh, go get it, I mean, he tells me, run over and get a shovel, blah, blah, blah. He grabs the hose because the snake had kind of went in the other direction after I jumped up, and it started going towards our home, and, well, we had a dryer vent, like, right over here somewhere. And it starts trying to climb up the dryer vent. So my dad grabs the hose, starts spraying the thing, like all in the face, to try to keep it from going in the hole, And my dad's not the crocodile hunter type, so he's not going to grab it by the tail and, you know what I'm saying? No, we're not doing that kind of stuff. We don't like the snakes in our house, okay? So he's spraying it in the face, bah, 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 bah. And so I'm running, like I run over to our shed, and I get like a shovel and like a hoe and all this stuff, and I'm ready to get him, So I come over and like, here, Dad, here. And he goes over and chops him in half, and man, it was, I don't even, what was that all about? You know what I'm saying? What's the snake doing climbing up my chair, So anyways, that's one instance. Now, that was already crazy enough, okay? Spooky enough, and how did that happen? I don't know. So here's another story. I'm about 12 years old, and we go over to my grandparents' house. And he's got this massive oak tree, like right in front of his home. Big, giant one. And I mean, it's like an umbrella of branches and under this big, giant oak that still to this day I can't even put my arms even around. My arms are pretty long. I still can't even get halfway around it. That's how huge it is. So when I was a kid, there was a branch. So we used to climb up the tree. It was actually kind of hard to climb the tree because of the fact that it didn't have a lot of branches low. So you had to be able to jump to grab one and then climb up the rest of the way. So I used to do it all the time because there was a branch that was broken off. It was like one of these branches about this big, right? And it had broken off. I don't know if it was in the storm or whatever. But it broke off and it was gone for the longest time. So we would climb up in the tree and look down in the hole that was produced by breaking off. And the hole was always a spot for little birds, to nest. So they would have a bird nest in there, their little eggs, little blue eggs, little like orange spotted eggs and things like that. Kids love that kind of stuff. So, and I did, like I love nature, I loved all of that kind of stuff. So I would climb up in the tree and look for little eggs. And so this time in particular, we got to my grandparents' house and my grandpa looks at me and goes, "Hey, Chris, now let me tell you, I don't want you climbing up in that tree today because the birds are acting funny." I'm like, acting funny? I didn't know what that meant. I'm just like, is that a reason not to climb a tree? I don't know. To me, it wasn't. Being 12 years old, birds are acting funny? That doesn't really, he should have said straight out what it could have been, but no, he didn't. He just said, don't do it. And when you're a kid, if you don't get all of the details, you think you know it all. You know what I'm saying? So you're like, old grandpa, what does he know? So anywho, I go out and I decide no one's around. Let me just climb the tree like I always do. See if there's any birds in there or little eggs or whatever, right? So I jump up, grab onto the thing, I climb up. And I'm sitting in the tree at this point because there's a big space in the middle. And then I used to look down into the little hole. Well, this time in particular, I look in the hole and don't see a thing. I can't see. It's like dark in there, like really dark. So I kind of look again. And I'm like, I can't see anything, So then I kind of lean to the side like this. And the sunshine goes down into that hole. What do you guys think was in that hole? This is your chance to answer. I can't hear you, but what do you guys think was in that hole? Let me tell you what was in that hole. Okay, so as soon as the sun goes into that hole, all I could see, jet black scales. Okay. Snake scales, okay? What this was a black snake, and it was rolled up with its face looking straight up like this. And what I realized was when I leaned over like this into this hole, that snake was right here, like 5 inches away from my face, if even that, because I even looked in there even closer because I couldn't see. Now tell me what you would have done if you would have looked in that hole and you would have said, listen now, this was not a small snake. This snake was not small, Buddy Road. This snake was huge, but it was wound up. And its face was looking right at me, okay? Right at me. So immediately I jumped backwards out of the tree, like woo, but I'm a kid, so I'm invincible. So I jumped straight back up, you know what I'm saying? And I run in the house, in the house. And I tell my dad, Dad, I know I wasn't supposed to climb up in the tree. I know Grandpa said don't climb in the tree, but I did, and there's a snake in the tree, Dad. There's a snake, it's wound up in the tree. So of course he's upset because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. But then he goes and tells his own dad, which is my grandpa, and his brothers and everybody. So now it's a big thing. Everybody in the house knows that Chris climbed up the tree when he wasn't supposed to. Thank you, everyone. But check this out. Everyone goes outside now, all around the tree. Everybody is like stepped way back, you know. And so one of my uncles, his name is Aaron, he comes out with like this little cup. Now, this cup is probably the size of a cup you would use for like swishing and whatnot. You know, like if you had like mouthwash. You know how you have those small ones in your bathroom? You know, you know what I'm saying? That's how big it was. But what he was pouring in it was strange. It was gasoline. And I'm thinking to myself, are they gonna burn a tree down? You know, what is this? So I asked him, what are you doing with the gas? So he informs me, which I didn't know, which now you better believe I know because I never forgot it, that a snake's skin is very absorbable, how our eyes are. So if I was to take this little swishy cup of gasoline and blast you in the eyeballs, whoosh, the way your eyes would feel, that's the way the snake would feel all over, okay? So this was his plan, to go pour it up in there and then let the snake come creeping out of there. Nobody warned me about what was going to happen with the snake. Now, of course, I know it was going to burn, but listen, I didn't know the snake would react in this way. Okay, so my dad gets the cup from my uncle, and there's they had a little like ladder there, you know, one of the small ones, and he kind of climbed up it a little bit and like dumped it in real quick and jumped out. Listen to me when I tell you, that snake almost beat him out of the tree. I have never seen a snake look as straight as an arrow before. Listen, when he came out of that tree, shoot, like a jet, I mean like a straight arrow, zoom, hit the ground like an arrow. And when he did, it was going insane in every direction, all over it. So my grandpa is standing back with the rifle, you know, and he's like, pow, 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 pow. He can't even hit the thing, you know, because it's going insane, you know, and it's going all over. So now it's starting to get away because it's going crazy and whatnot. And so everyone is like throwing stuff at it and trying to get close to it, but scared because it's acting crazy. I've never seen a snake do this. I mean, it's rolling, I mean, flipping and rolling and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm thinking, this is not even a snake, man. This is a demon. This is a devil. All right, so anyways, all right, everybody's scared. So my dad runs up on it with like a hoe, or either he has like a shovel or something. And finally, my dad again to the rescue, chopping stuff in half, chopping snakes in half, you know, to protect his son. Thank goodness. So that's two now. That's two snakes that I've had like very close encounters with. What's up with this? What's up with me and snakes? I don't know. Snakes, I don't know, and I don't like no snakes. So anyways, the point of this whole story is that, especially with story number 2, I was definitely told to stay out of the tree, okay? So my grandpa told me stay out of the tree. My dad said, you heard what he said, stay out the tree. Did I listen? No. Okay. How many times are we told in our lifetimes not to do something? We have warnings, you know, for stuff. And warnings are there for a reason. Okay, like when you have a stop sign, when you have a yield sign, all of these are to get you to slow down or to stop for a reason. Okay, either because there's a highway here, and if you just keep cruising on through, then you're going to get nailed. You understand what I'm saying? You're going to be killed. So we get warnings for a reason, so that we can listen. You know what I'm saying? And not do things we're not supposed to do. Now listen, how close was I to maybe having my eyeball bitten out of my head? Okay, I mean, this thing was within 3 inches of my face. A snake. What held the snake back? Why didn't he strike me in the face? Listen to me. I mean, the only answer to that is God. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I guarantee that God said, stay. Don't you move. Now, sometimes God does that for us in our everyday life. You know, he warns us about stuff, says, don't do it, don't do it. We do it. And God still holds the hand back of the devil. No. No, don't you touch him. Okay? Which, praise God for that. Praise God that he does this, you know, stuff. Now, sometimes he allows you, especially if he's warned you over and over again, he allows stuff to happen in our lives that we don't like. Of course we don't like. But God warns us of things that can harm us, and He has, left and right. And we need to start to listen. We need to listen to our parents. We need to listen to God. We need to listen to authority. Right now we have a whole generation of children that don't listen to authority whatsoever. We have a lot of crazy stuff that's going on in this world right now, and it seems to only be getting worse. And God has also warned us about these things. He has given us vast warnings about things that are supposed to happen right at the end of time, which I believe we're right at the end of time, especially if you look at the warnings in the Bible, which I'm going to give a couple studies on here, giving those warnings and showing those warnings, and that we cannot just step back and not listen. Because listen to me, there are times when the devil is inches away from our face, ready to devour us, and God is holding him back. There's going to be a time when God doesn't hold him back anymore. And I believe that time is coming very soon. And the reason that I'm telling this story is because God has warned us for thousands and thousands of years in the scriptures. And if we look at the times, the days that we have now, the stuff that's going on earth right now, the things that we see in our news headlines, all of these things, the Bible is coming alive. The Bible is coming true. It's always been alive, but we've never listened. Now we need to listen, because the warnings are getting louder. The warnings are getting louder, and it's getting closer to our faces, okay? If you would, and so I'm just trying to tell you, because my station is called Always Be Prepared. That's always be prepared for life, and all of the things that it can throw at you, and all the things that it does throw at you. It's getting harder. It's getting harder. So I'm here to try to give you guys a little bit of encouragement, because there are times when God warns us and we don't listen, and God stays the hand of the devil. That may not be happening for long. So we definitely have got to draw ourselves closer to God, and not allow the time to go past anymore. We don't have time to play around anymore and say, maybe I'll come to God later, when I'm older, when I've done everything I wanted to do, when I've done this, I've done that, I've done the whatever, after I've gotten this job, or after I've done this or that. Listen to me, the time is now. When you hear God calling, that's when you need to take heed, because the warnings will not come forever. The danger will be here before we know it. And I'm asking all of you now to be prepared. Always be prepared for life. Always be prepared for death. Always be prepared for anything. God is calling us, and He's warning us. And this is my warning to you guys. I hope you enjoyed the story, but I hope you enjoyed the message even more. And I just ask that today, if you hear God's voice, heed the call. Heed the call. Thank you once again for listening to my channel and hearing my stories. And I hope you've got a little bit of encouragement from this. And until next time, praise God. And God bless.